Okay, class, so I'm going to give you, you can see here that on this sheet that I have several of these different chords, and I'm using the song Sunny that we've been working on as a way of showing you how you can do those substitutions that we talked about on Wednesday. And I know that that was a lot of information for everybody, and so I wanted to make sure that I put together a video that would go along with this PDF file. This is the file that you can print, and then I'll show you on my guitar too how to play some of these changes so that it will make it easier for you to understand. So first of all, in the song there's that part where it goes from the A minor and then it goes directly to a C7, and that chord then goes directly to an F major 7. So what I'm looking at that C7 as is it's the 5 of the F chord. So I'm calling it a 5 to 1, even though we're not in the key of F. It's just sort of a relationship that musicians always look for. We always look for the dominant 7 to help us think of it as a 5 of whatever it's headed towards. So then when I was talking about substitutions, or at least what you can do to make the chord sound better than just using the 7 chord, the dominant 7, I had mentioned that you could turn it into a 2-5-1 progression. So if we think of F as being 1 in this situation, then I can turn the 5-7 to 1 into a 2 to a 5 to a 1. Now, the reason I've got these 9s in here and 13s is because the voicing on the guitar and the voicing itself sounds better. And that's where you get a lot of these sounds that you hear in jazz. So what I did was I turned the 2 chord into a minor 9 chord, G minor 9, which is the 2 of F, right? G is the 2. And then I turned the C7 chord into a C13, because if I do that, then some of the notes that are in the next chord, F major 7, are in this chord too. So that's why it's a G minor 9, C13 going to the F major 7. So that's one way that you can change that up, spice that chord progression up. Then the other one was when I was talking about a flat 5 substitute, also known as a tritone substitute, because both of those things refer to a diminished 5th or an augmented 4th, both being the same. Usually we call it a flat 5 substitute. So then what I'm going to do is I'm still going to use that 2-9, G minor 9, because it's a good voicing. And then I'm going to go to, so what's the flat 5 of C? The 5th of C is G, so what the flat 5 would be G flat. And so I'm going to create a G flat chord. Now the chord that sounds the best is if I turn it into a 7 chord with a sharp 9 in it. And we've been playing chords that have sharp 9s in them. The E7 sharp 9 that we've been using in Sunny is one of those chords. And so it has that kind of really nice color to it. So if I go G minor 9 to G flat 7, raised 9 or sharp 9 to F major 7, I sort of have the same results. They both kind of point to the F major 7. That's what you're headed towards. Remember I said you always need to know what the chords sound like and what chords you're doing. And if you know where you're headed, you've got a lot of different pathways to it. These are the best and most logical ways to do it, and ones that jazz musicians use, but classical musicians use those too. And anyway, what I did was, I know that we went over those changes. We kind of got used to playing that, in particular, the G minor to C13. We didn't really use the flat 5 substitute of from G minor to G flat, but it's a really easy one to do because you've played that chord before. And then later on in the song, in fact, part of the song already has this. You have the chord progression B minor 7 flat 5 going to E7 sharp 9. That's already in the song, and that is going to A minor, which is the one of the chord of the song Sunny. So we already have this particular chord progression in the song itself. And so in a way, they've already done that substitute, a 2 to a 5 going to a 1. And you already know this particular chord progression. And I'm just showing the basis of it. It's the E7 sharp 9 could have just been there by itself without putting B minor or E7, which is the 2 and the 5. It could have just been by itself, but instead they chose to do this because it sounds better in the song. Now the next thing is, what they also put in the song is this. They've got the B minor 7 flat 5. They turn it into a B minor 11 because that E is the 11th note above B. It's like an octave and a fourth. The reason they want to keep that E is because then the E goes all the way across to the 1 chord. So B minor 11 sounds great, and then what did they use in the song? They used B flat 7, sharp 11. A sharp 11 over B flat is an E natural, because the regular 11 would be an E flat. And so that's why that chord progression works. And what that was a flat 5 substitute for the E. Because what's the fifth of E? B. You turn that into B flat, turn that into a 7 chord with a sharp 11, you've got a great substitute going to A minor. So basically we have two different ways on the guitar to play 2 5-1s or 2 flat 5 substitute to a 1 on various places on the guitar. Those are two different ways to do it. One going to a major and one going to a minor. So next I'm going to go ahead and play all those parts on the guitar so you can see it. Even though the PDF actually shows you what the chords look like and where to play it on the guitar. It's kind of nice to be able to hear what it sounds like.